So today we're going to be talking about the trust fund recovery penalty. This is one of those topics where I did this really to be informational. And then I had this, oh, wow moment just reading other people's content and whatnot. So that's where we're going to go with today. That's why we're saying it's trust fund recovery penalty with a twist. So trust fund taxes, these are your payroll taxes. These are the taxes that as an employer you withhold from your employees' taxes. We're talking about income taxes, Social Security and Medicare taxes, and even state taxes that go to the state government. These taxes are called trust fund taxes because you as the employer are taking those funds in trust that you will then hand them over to the appropriate government authority. We speak mostly on federal taxes because that's pretty much nationwide. Every state has different actions when it comes down to their state taxes. So the thing about the trust fund recovery penalty is that it gets small businesses in trouble a lot, because what happens is that small business owners withhold this money and they're running lean. They're pretty much broke. And so they may take these funds with the intent of paying them back, but 9 times out of 10 that does not happen. And so you can get into a lot of trouble. And that's where the trust fund recovery penalty comes in. The trust fund recovery penalty was created to encourage business. I like that, encourage. That's what the IRS says. They encourage you to pay those taxes over on time. Now, one of the things that you can do as an employer to really help you here is to make sure you keep your payroll funds separate from all of your other operational funds. This will help keep you from overspending those funds and getting in trouble with the government. But now let's talk about this trust fund recovery penalty. So you get this trust fund recovery penalty when you are late or you just don't pay those employment taxes. And trust fund recovery penalties are expensive. They are essentially double of what you owe. In simple math, if you owe $1,000 in payroll tax, the penalty is going to be another $1,000. It's not exact, but it winds up being about double. Okay. But now here's where we are, when I say this is payroll tax with a twist. Okay. So what happens is when there is an issue with trust fund recovery penalty, there's an investigation that's done. There's an investigation to see who was involved with the payroll tax and what happened to the money. Now, this is where it gets good. So I was reading an article from Eric Green on Bloomberg Tax. And Eric Green, if you don't know who he is a very prominent tax attorney that deals with tax controversy. And one of the things that Eric essentially shared is that the IRS has essentially taken it up a notch. Like when Emeril Lagasse was on TV, he was like, let's take it up a notch, and bam. Okay, that's pretty much what the IRS has done. So what they said, starting this past June, the IRS has told its revenue officers during its investigation in finding out where this money went, if the employer or whoever's responsible for payroll, if they took that money and then they used it for their personal gain, whether they're paying bills, buying cars, whatever, anything outside of the business, if they were using it for personal gain, then what that revenue officer is supposed to do then is go check the 1040. You're going to check the 1040 to see if they actually claimed this income on their tax return, which they probably did not. Now, here's the thing that you have to keep in mind, that in the United States, all income is taxable until it's not. So something like where it was like the PPP loan, forgiven PPP loans, they were not counted as income, so it wasn't taxable. So on a regular day, it would have been taxable. But since the government specifically said it wasn't taxable, then it wasn't taxable. So all income in the United States is taxable until it is not. That includes stolen funds. Okay? So even if you steal money, if you don't claim it on your tax return, you're in more trouble. And so that is what the IRS has done here to take this up a notch, to said, hey, go check these 1040s, because if these people took this took this payroll tax money and then used it for personal gain, but then did not put it on their tax return, did not claim it on their tax return, did not pay taxes on this money, then they can be hit with a 75% civil fraud penalty. Ooh. So not only are you going to be prosecuted for not paying over these payroll taxes, then they're going to be looking at your 1040, and then you're going to have issues on your personal tax return. So I was sharing in the blog post about this business owner who just recently was sentenced to 13 months in prison for payroll tax violations. He took money from his employees and he did not pay it over to the government. And he was sentenced to 13 months in jail. What did he use the money for? His own personal gain. So not only is he having to deal with these payroll tax, now did they claim it? Did he claim it on his personal tax return? The report doesn't say that, but they're probably not going to tell us that anyway. Okay, because they don't tell all the tea in these Department of Justice press releases. But listen, if he did not claim that income on his tax return, then he can also be hit with an additional penalty in paying this money back. So they are not playing with this trust fund recovery thing for my employers. They are not playing with this money, because if you understand how this country is funded, it's funded through income tax and payroll tax. So those are two things that are really funding this country. And so when people aren't paying that over, they are literally taking money from the government. This is not no imaginary money. This is money that is supposed to go to the government that you decide to not send. And listen, business owners get in trouble all the time. It's really the small business owners that wind up in the most trouble when it comes down to trust fund recovery taxes. This is why it's so important for you to really separate that money. But again, small business owners 9 times out of 10 are taking that money and putting it back into the business. So will you still be in trouble? Yes. But will you be worried about going to jail? Not so much. It's when you start taking this money that's supposed to go to the government and then you're keeping it for yourself. And listen, we're just talking about federal. Wait till the state gets a hold of you. Because if you didn't give the state their money either, they're going to be coming for you next. These are two separate entities. So you got to deal with the feds, and then once the state finds out, they're going to come for you too. And the states are usually slightly more vicious than the IRS and the federal government, believe it or not. Okay, so just know that, again, the government has an emphasis on collecting these payroll taxes because this is what funds the country. And we know the current state right now, because after all those stimulus payments that went out, all those forgiven loan funds, all of that stuff, all that money that went out from the government, they're going to be recouping said money. Okay, be rest assured. And so it's things like this. It's things like unpaid payroll tax and unpaid income tax. Now that the IRS is opening back up, there is a renewed emphasis on collection. So even people talking about all this money that, the IRS is requesting, it's not for customer service help. It's for collections. So be very aware. If you are in trouble with your payroll taxes, do not wait for the IRS or the state to come for you. Get a handle on it now. Reach out to a professional to help you so that you can get this resolved before the government comes for you. Once the government comes for you, a lot of your options close. Okay, so they're very serious about this. I can't stress that enough. All right. So I hope that helps you out. Listen, if you're an employer, make sure you keep those funds separate. Pay your payroll taxes on time. Point blank. End of story. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Bye.